So now we're ready to diffuse. I have just my regular blow dryer. You might notice it has one of those rubber bands that comes on celery, but that's because I use the Black Orchid diffuser. I got it off of Amazon, and it doesn't fit every single blow dryer. So I found a tip online where they removed this like black extra ring that was in there. It was not easy, but I got it out. And then you use the rubber band to act as like a gasket kind of that keeps it on there. Like if you go flinging it around, it'll probably fall off, but it's good enough for what I need to do. So for diffusing, I go in, I use all three settings. I start out on the hottest setting. I do not use the highest air volume setting. I just use, mine only has like low or high. I only use low because you don't want to blow your hair like crazy, otherwise it's going to separate the clumps and get frizzy. So I start out on high and I kind of do twice around my head on high, and then I'll flip over and turn it to medium. I don't initially start out with my head flipped over. That's something that's different than the norm, but it's because I saw an ad for this diffuser only tool. I forgot what that, Belisma or something like that. It was a Facebook ad, but hey, we can learn from ads too. And their tip is to start out by just doing the ends, and then you flip over and focus on the roots. Made that change so much easier to diffuse. It's faster, and the end result is better because you're taking care of drying the lengths and getting that good cast on those before you smash everything to your head. Between the Bounce Curl Define brush and then changing how I diffuse, that has created so much more volume and taking care of an issue I used to have where the hair on top of my head was just like flat and really separated from each other, almost into like hair plates. It just wasn't working. So that's taking care of that. So I start out on the lowest air volume setting and then the highest heat setting. And I'll show you what I do. It'll be loud though. So I take my hair out of the pot. You can see it has a little bit more curled than it did, but once we start diffusing, you'll see it really start taking shape. All right. Oh, so I do what's called pixie diffusing, where at first, when I'm on the high heat setting, I just turn it on and off as I move to each section. So at this point, we're just kind of cradling the lengths of the curls. I'm not smashing it up against my head. You just work your way around. And then once I've done it on one side, I gently flip over to the other side. You don't want to rake your fingers through your curl clumps right now. And then I'll work my way down this side, still on the highest heat setting, and then I'll do it one more time on each side. Okay, so we're going to flip over to the other side to do the high heat one more time. All right, I'm still on the last side for the last bit of highest heat, but I wanted to show you a trick for if your face starts getting too hot or your ear starts getting too hot. You can also see that the curls are, there's a nice cast going. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're also starting to get curlier as they get drier. So here's the tip for if your face starts getting too hot, you just slide your hand right there. I usually try to like push it all in there. It starts to get pretty voluminous, so you got to make sure it's in there. I'm protecting my ear because it can get kind of hot, and I do not like hot ears. I generally also don't wear a flannel while I'm diffusing. Hot. So when I'm at the back, I try to like point more towards my scalp instead of straight up. Hot. Okay, so now I've been around twice on the high heat. I'm going to keep it still on the lowest volume of air, but I'm going to move to medium heat. And this is when I flip over. And then because this is such a deep bowl, I can just go all the way up to my scalp. Sometimes I still turn it on and off. Sometimes when I feel more in a rush, I'll just leave it on. So we'll get started. First one, yeah. So this is when we're focusing more on the roots. So I'll get up in there to get to my roots. And then I'll usually go around a couple of times on medium heat, just like I did with the high heat. But this time I'm focusing more on angling towards my roots. Hopefully you can hear me over the blow dryer. Kind of get up in there. Flip it over to the other side. Still on medium heat. You notice I'm pointing more towards my head than I did at first. kind of like stick them in and raise it up a little bit to lift your roots. So then when I feel, as I'm going around, if I can tell like it's mostly dry, I don't ever dry it all the way, but you can tell like, okay, I can let the rest of it air dry. I'll switch it to the coldest setting and then press the cool shot, because you always want to cool down your hair after you've blow dried it. It helps make the cuticles lay back down, and it really helps set the curl, and also helps your hair be shinier and healthier because you're not leaving it exposed. So I'll just go around everywhere until it feels like my hair has cooled down. Feels really nice on the scalp. I also really like it on my ears too because it cools those down. The only thing is with my blow dryer, I have to keep pressing the cool shot, which, you know, tires out the thumb, but you know, first world problems. Alright, and then we are officially, excuse me, diffused. And because I do not abide hair in my face, that is why you will always see me with some kind of like bobby pinage going on, just to keep it out of my face. But I don't rake my fingers through it. I don't scrunch it until probably 3-ish hours from now. Because you really want to make sure your hair is dry before you scrunch the crunch, so they say, and that'll really help soften everything up. If you do it before it's completely dry, it'll be okay, but you won't have as much curl definition. So that's how I diffuse.